So today I'm going to be using my face. I'm not using glasses. A lot of people have been asking me that. Why are you using glasses? Why are you using glasses? I just felt like it's no big deal. So continue from where we stop, and we all know the importance of reading. Readers are leaders. And the book we are treating is How to Win and Influence Friend. And for those that have been following and enjoying the reading, I love you. So make sure to share it with friends, follow, like, and save. Share it with people that might need it. It's very important. So, where did we stop the last time? Okay, we stop at where the mechanic actually did not fix the plane properly. The fuel was he fueled the plane with a jet fuel instead of gasoline. That was where we stopped. If you were in the shoe of the pilot, what would you have done? So let's move on. Father forgets. W. Livingstone learn. Fathers forget. Fathers forget. Listen, son, I am saying this as you lie asleep. One little paw crumpled under your cheek and bone curls stickily wet on your damp forehead. I have stolen into your room alone just a few minutes ago as I sat reading my paper in the library. A sifting waves of remorse swept over me. Guiltily, I came to your bedside. There are the things I was thinking, son. I had better cross to you. I scold you as you were dressing for school because you gave your face merely a dab with a towel. I took you to task for not cleaning your shoes. I called out angrily when you threw some of your things on the floor. At breakfast, I found fault too. You spilled things. You gobbled down your food. You put your elbows on the table. You spread butters too thick on your bread. And as you started off to play and I made for my train, you turned and waved a hand and called, "Goodbye, Daddy." And I frowned and said in reply, "Hold your shoulders back." Do you understand? This is more like a father letter to his son. The father is trying to address something, even with the fact that our parent has been hard on us. I think this is basically what the father is trying to say. Our parent has been harsh on us. Those days, is my daddy beat me, and you think I'm not his child, and that's the way it is. And that does not stop us from loving him. I used to love my dad 100% because it was so outstanding and extraordinary. So that's what this great man is doing. Imagine you have done all of these things to your child. Sometimes you spank them, sometimes you shout at them because they do not have power to fight back. Imagine kids can, they have the courage to start fighting their parents almost, but it is not possible. That's the way it is. But with all of this, with all the scolding, with all the frowning, with all the faults we find in them, yet they are still loving. Imagine, look at everything the dad has done to that child. And when he was still going to school, he said, I say, okay, daddy, bye bye. So that's the way it is. Even the Bible said, if everyone they were like children, it would have been very good. They are just made differently. So let's continue. Then it began all over again in the late afternoon. As I came up the road, I spilled you, I spilled you down on your knees, playing marbles. There were holes in your stockings. I humiliated you before your boyfriends by marching you ahead of me to the house. Stockings were expensive, and if you had to buy them, you would have been more careful. Imagine that, son from a father. You can imagine the child has gone to school. Even in the afternoon is another egg of trouble again from the father. You can imagine, and that's the way it is. The man was already coming from work and he started the child playing ball. He now started saying, look at, in presence of his friends. They were playing balls together in praise of his friends. The father was not saying if he had the one that bought that socks, he would have been so careful with the socks. Imagine that. But the child will still love the father irrespective of what they do. Do you remember later when I was reading in the library how you came cleanly with a sort of odd look in your eyes? When I glanced up over my paper, impatient at the interruption, you hesitated at the door. What is what is it you want? I snapped. You said nothing, but ran across one tempestuous plot and threw your arms around my neck and kissed me. And your small arms tightened with an affection that God had set blooming in your heart and which even neglect could never wither. That is it. The same thing is applicable to everybody. Children, in fact, they are precious gifts from God. Just like my child too. Even if I spank her, I shout at her, I yell at her, the highest you say her, mommy, please don't shout at me. And she will just come back with a hug and that is it. They don't really think about the things their parents do for them. We, in our heart, we are trying to correct them. But sometimes, don't you feel we are too harsh on those children? And that is what this book is telling us. With the fact that we are always hard on them, with the fact that we are always spanking them, with the fact that we are always correcting them here and there. Pick that thing, take it away. Look at your school bag, look at your socks, look at this one. Where are you coming from? What are you eating? All of this, they still come running close, coming close, giving us hug and making it feel like nothing has happened. Children are so incredible. Okay. Well, son, it was shortly afterwards my paper slipped from my hands and terribly shaking fear came over me. What has habit been doing to me? The habit of finding fault, of repenting. This was my renewal to you for being a boy. This was my reward to you for being a boy. It was not that I did not love you. It was that I expected too much of youth. I was measuring you by the yardstick of my own years. And that's the problem. That is basically what the issue is. That is basically what the issue is. When sometimes we are always expecting too much from our children and we fail to realize that these kids are still very young, we fail to realize that they cannot actually give us what we actually demand of them. So we have to, the thing we have to do is just that we should calm down with them, love them genuinely. Though we love them actually, but we want them to be fast. We want them to be independent, which is too harsh sometimes on these children. So it is very important that we should always learn how to calm down when it comes to dealing with children because they might not tell on them right now. Possibly when they grow old, they will not start imagining those things. They will not start flashing back. Ah, this thing that my mommy was doing to me when I was a little bit younger was not this really good, and a lot of things can happen. So the father was now trying to apologize. Now, when he now got to know that, even with the fact that I have been doing all of this to this child, the child still came back, loving me genuinely. Imagine, with all the go away, bring it, go and sit down, this one, the child still came to hug the father. Children. So let's continue. And there was so much that was good and fine and true in your character. The little heart of you was as big as the dawn itself over the wide hill. This was shown by your sumptuous impulse to rush in and kiss me goodnight. Nothing else matters tonight, son. I have come to your bedside in darkness, and I have knelt there ashamed. The father was now ashamed. The father was now ashamed that even sometimes the thing happens to me too. The thing happens to me. It actually this thing is just a real life example. All of you would have shouted on your kids, and before you know it, mommy, they are beside you already. All loving and caring and you in fact. So the father now felt so bad that he had to go and kneel down beside the bed of the son to apologize, even if he cannot say it openly to the child. He felt ashamed of himself. And that is basically the way life is supposed to be. Somebody has actually maltreated you, somebody has criticized you, somebody has done all manners of things to you that you do not like. Just pretend like a child, like you do not see all of those things. And trust me, that person will be so, so ashamed. It's a feeble atonement. I know you would not understand these things. If I told them to you during your working hours, if it's a feeble atonement. I know you would not understand these things if I told them to you during your working hours. But tomorrow I will be a real dad. I will chum with you and suffer when you suffer and laugh when you laugh. I will bite my tongue when impatient words comes. I will keep saying as if it were ritual. It were a ritual. He is nothing but a boy, a little boy. I am afraid I have visualized you as a man. Yet, as I see you, son, crumpled and weary in your coat, I see that you are